a baby lost in the woods, a family history of dementia, and navigating a literal minefield. He may be a Hollywood leading man, but Viggo Mortensen has dealt with his share of tragedy. From the outset, Viggo Mortensen's life was marked by darkness. Even his earliest days had an almost archetypal air of solemnity to them. As he once told GQ, "As a baby, I crawled out of the crib twice, and they had to look for me. Found me with a dog one time in the woods." After he avoided having to be raised by forest creatures, Mortensen's parents divorced when he was 11, and their relationship soon became angry and bitter, according to Esquire. Following the breakup, his dad began going out with other women, taking in various partners. This roused immense anger in the young Mortensen, as he believed his father was deliberately disrespecting his mom with these relationships. The lack of a father figure was difficult for him, particularly since Mortensen's father hardly visited. As Viggo reflected to GQ, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder and so forth, but looking back, he didn't come to see us that often." He also highlighted his father's fixation with hypermasculinity and would take his son hunting and fishing.
You started hunting pretty early?
Well, actually, much earlier than you might expect. I was probably 4 when I shot my first duck.
Despite Mortensen's fractured relationship with his father, he could always count on his mom. He told The Telegraph that it was her who first instilled a love of cinema in him, as she would frequently take him to the movie theater. Following her divorce, his mom moved the family from Argentina to New York, where he struggled to fit in since he only spoke Spanish. Mortensen was also plagued by deeply morbid thoughts throughout his life, dating back to his childhood. He told Esquire some of his earliest memories include waking up and contemplating his own mortality. In an earlier Vanity Fair interview, he discussed his morbid sensibilities, suggesting that his loneliness as a child left room for his grisly imagination to form dark thoughts. In 2015, Viggo Mortensen's mother passed away. He lamented to GQ that watching her fade away from dementia was painful, though he tried to focus on all the pleasant memories he had of her before her death. 2 years before her passing, he spoke to The Telegraph about the difficulties of seeing his mom's cognitive degeneration, revealing, "She knows who I am, but she gets things mixed up." He also shared that in her final days, she thought he was in the old Hollywood movies that she had always enjoyed watching. By 2016, his dad was also dying of dementia, and he took some time off work to care for him. As noted by Esquire, he slept in the room next to his father, keeping watch over him with a baby monitor. His father ended up surviving longer than he expected, with the actor musing, "He's a tough son of a." However, his father eventually succumbed to the disease, and he passed away in 2017. On his website Percival Pictures, Mortensen discusses watching both his parents slowly disintegrate. After returning from his mom's funeral, he said, "I couldn't sleep. My mind was flooded with echoes and images of her and our family at different stages of our shared lives." He explained that her death also highlighted to him the imposing role that his father played in her life. As he watched his dad gradually slip away, he was shaken by the ultra-macho, sometimes aggressive patriarch regressing to a childlike state, having declined to such an extent that he began confusing Viggo for his own father. The specter of dementia hovers over Viggo Mortensen. In addition to his parents suffering from the disease, he lost all but one of his grandparents, aunts, uncles, and even his stepfather to dementia, according to USA Today.
There's a lot of that in my family, my dad, my mom, both sides of the family. We're riddled with dementia, our family.
To honor the memories of those he lost, Mortensen made the 2020 film Falling, his directorial debut, which is inspired by his own experiences with the disease. Through the film, he sought to depict dementia in a far more realistic way than many Hollywood predecessors, which he believes often rely on sanitizing the serious disease.
You said you couldn't handle the farm anymore. The long winters, living all alone there.
I would never say that.
You did, Dad.
When speaking with Esquire, he discussed his anxiety at witnessing his father's mental degeneration. He noted that the elder Viggo suffered outbursts of rage, believing that people were trying to steal his farmland, despite the fact that he had already sold it. This confusion culminated in the actor actually having to talk his father out of shooting people for being on the property he no longer owned. Subsequently, Mortensen believes it's an inevitability that he too will decline as his parents did, admitting to GQ in 2021, "I was telling a friend of mine about this. I guess it's only a matter of time before I get it." Fortunately, he said that a blood test suggested he didn't have the genetic markers for the disease. Even so, he hasn't ruled it out entirely, saying, "Life is unpredictable, as we've seen this past year certainly." In 1987, Viggo Mortensen married a fellow quirky creative, punk musician Exene Cervenka, and the couple had a son named Henry together. Despite being an artistic match, the pair divorced in 1998. Viggo is incredibly close with Henry, but admits that his work schedule often means he doesn't get to see him as much as he would like to, and that he has to miss moments in his child's life that any parent would want to be there for. In 2016, he admitted to Esquire that he is no stranger to heartbreak. According According to Vanity Fair, he briefly began dating Lola Schnabel after his divorce from Cervenka. After that relationship ended, he thought his hopes of finding true love again were slim. He didn't rule it out though, saying, "It could happen. It's always the thing you think won't happen that does." Regarding being viewed as a sex symbol, Viggo previously told Esquire that while it may seem to be a ridiculous thing to complain about, such a moniker ultimately hinders his chances at love. He went on to say that it objectifies and dehumanizes him, admitting, "For some people, that would be like, great, that's half the reason I got into this. But to me, that's not exciting. It's someone looking at you and not seeing who you are on most levels. You become some possession to have." Despite it all, he did ultimately find love with Spanish actor Ariadna Gil. When filming the Black Gate of Mordor scene for The Lord of the Rings, Viggo Mortensen, as well as the cast and crew, found themselves in a precarious position. As detailed in the book Anything You Can Imagine, Aragorn's momentous speech was filmed in a New Zealand desert used for military training, meaning that the production was surrounded by undetonated weaponry. As author Ian Nathan darkly detailed in the book, director Peter Jackson was anxious about a shot where Viggo and other actors rode horses into the bomb-infested land, writing, "Jackson remembers waiting for the explosion. Having found their perfect Aragorn, they were going to watch him get blown up by an unexploded New Zealand bomb." Thankfully, Mortensen avoided this chilling fate unscathed. In addition to risking himself being blown up, Viggo suffered numerous injuries during the trilogy. According to Slash Film, he suffered a broken toe, chipped a tooth, and nearly drowned while floating down a river. Mortensen has been heavily critical of production for The Lord of the Rings as a whole, deeming it sloppy and unprofessional, telling The Telegraph, "It just wasn't done at all. It needed massive reshoots, which we did, year after year. But Peter Jackson would have never been given the extra money to do those if the first one hadn't been a huge success." He later clarified his remarks to The Independent, insisting that he didn't hate the films or Jackson. The actor explained that he owed much of his success to the New Zealand filmmaker, even if the trilogy wasn't his particular cup of tea. Rather, he said, he felt that big-budget blockbusters stifled creativity, saying, "It's just an opinion. I feel the same way about Batman movies. After a while, I feel I've just been punched in the head so many times." As noted by Salon, Viggo Mortensen infamously wore a t-shirt that read, "No more blood for oil," as a protest against the US's potential invasion of Iraq during a 2002 appearance on Charlie Rose. According to Esquire, he decided to go public with his activism after being moved by the story of a mother he met, Cindy Sheeran, whose son was killed in Iraq. The last film she had watched with her son before he died was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. His political activities led to a huge backlash from right-wing pundits who criticized his anti-war stance. But Mortensen is not someone who is afraid to speak out.
People a lot of times don't want to know, certainly don't want to speak about what they've seen because it's unpleasant. It can be depressing.
In an interview with GQ, he discussed the negative impact the incident had on both his life and career, which, being a public figure, he deemed inevitable, conceding, "It's just life. If you're sort of in the public eye, people have opinions about you, whether you like it or not." Making friends has never been easy for Viggo Mortensen. As he once explained to Shortlist, he'd failed to make any Hollywood pals, claiming that the notion of casts and crews becoming one big happy family during filming isn't entirely true. It comes as little surprise then that the select few people who have been welcomed into his inner circle are as far away from Hollywood as possible. Mortensen was close friends with Icelandic painter Geir Guni Hauksson. According to Iceland Review, the artist was known for his evocative and desolate landscape paintings. In 2005, Mortensen released a book, Strange Familiar, about his friend, in which he discussed how Hauksson's works resonated with him on a personal level, leading to the pair becoming best buds. The actor recalled, "He was somehow as familiar to me as his paintings were, as if we'd known each other a long time." Hauksson died in 2011 at age 50. According to DV, the loss devastated Mortensen, who penned a tribute to his prematurely departed friend, writing, "I heard that you had left us in a hurry. That tragic news saddens me indescribably and fills me with pain. I hope to be able to follow your beautiful example in watching, listening, and feeling all the days and all the nights given to me here on Earth." An Esquire profile recounts a heartbreaking story Viggo Mortensen wrote about his dog, Bridget. As he transported the dog to be cremated, the body accidentally fell out of the bag that was holding it, and at that moment, he realized the veterinarian had given him the wrong dog. Despite the horrible mix-up, the actor was able to keep things in perspective, recalling, "It was sad, but it was funny." Losing a pet is an awful experience that certainly isn't limited to celebrities, but when Mortensen lost another pair of pets, he also lost former coworkers. Speaking with NME, Mortensen revealed that the horses he adopted from Lord of the Rings had also died. After filming wrapped up, the actor took a liking to the 2 horses he rode on screen, as well as a third. Subsequently, he bought all 3 of them, gifting one to a stunt person. In an earlier interview with IGN, he discussed the special bond he developed with his horses, sweetly noting the comparisons between himself and one in particular, Urias, whose helplessness echoed his own experiences during filming. Mortensen remarked, "He kind of came into the movie similar to the way I did. Didn't have much preparation and was just thrown in and had to swim basically. We got to be close, and I wanted to stay in touch with him."